Greetings, I the War Owl greets you, and welcome to Counter-Strike Global Offensive 101, a series of tutorials aimed to help gamers learn the basics of how to play Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This time, we'll be going over some common spots that players tend to be in on the map DE Dust 2. Knowing these spots and what to look out for factors into what we call map awareness, or game sense. These skills come with experience and a deep understanding of how specific maps work. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be showing you the spots through the eyes of a terrorist, who moves from spawn into one of the bomb sites. Because from the CT's perspective, there are only 4 choke points where terrorists can come from: long A, short A, middle, and B tunnels. Now these change dependent upon the state of the game. Sometimes you can group short A and middle into one choke point, because the player middle has vision of players going short. Okay, so this is Steve. He's a terrorist. He wants to go B. Sorry for the clickety-clackety there. Steve has a mechanical keyboard. So when you're going into B tunnels here, first place you want to look is right there. If a player is rushing you, that's the only place he can come from the B side. Generally, if they're rushing you, there's going to be a flash thrown out here. So then you want to look, of course, have one player look lower B. Usually you have a player middle who's able to spot if anybody rushes lower B here. And if he does call it, or if you don't have a player calling it, then you should always look in this position. The heads can appear sort of in this line sort of here. Now remember, when you go around corners and stuff, you always want to keep your cursor at head level, just like that. So that when players come around the corner, you can just shoot them in the head, or just go, boop, there, I got him, or boop, there, I got him. Alright, so when you're moving into B here, the first place you want to look is this little corner here. A player could be playing around the left and peeking you. And sometimes there's a little cubby there. The next place to look is these boxes in the back. There's a box that's up close that a player could be opting from, and then a box in the back. And you want to aim it at head level, and it's really difficult to see because this isn't the SE version of the map. And you won't be playing the SE versions in matchmaking. So generally when you come around this corner, you want to pre-shoot the player who's there, or the one on the close boxes. I actually haven't seen anybody play these close boxes in Go yet. So then the next place you want to look, it's a very common spot, is right here. Over this box you'll be able to see just the top of a player's head, and generally they'll move to the side to kill you here. In previous Counter-Strike titles you could stand over this box, but in this one generally players are going to run out into the open to kill you. Alright, so this is probably the most common spot in my opinion. So then you come a little bit further and you've got this little site into B, right in between here. And there'll be guys here every once in a while. That's a very safe spot to play from. But the problem with all of these spots I've shown you thus far is that you can't rotate very well from them. And that's why a lot of players do not play them. So we move forward, we got another little place here by the box. Then, right there in the back of the site, we call that derp spot. There's a little cubby back there that a player could be sitting. It's a very safe spot for them. It's a very obvious spot. That's what I like to call derp spots. They're spots that they look like they should be good. They're little cubbies, but they're generally not very good just because you get trapped in them and you can't rotate out of them. So the next spot is called window. As you see here, there's a window or a crack. We call it window. I don't know why, but it's a crack in the wall. And generally you'll have an opper. That's where oppers like to stand because they can also watch middle from that position as well. It's a very versatile position, and generally you want to pre-shoot this just in case there's an opper. And I'll show you guys how to pre-shoot in a later tutorial. So then Steve moves in here. Oh, I'll stop the Steve thing. A little bit further, and we do have, what is that? The double doors here. And the double doors here is a very common spot for players to play because you can rotate so fast, you can watch middle from it. So you'll be able to see them right here, come around the corner, boom, shoot them in the face. The next spot is car, right here. The players can duck in this little cubby here in the car. That's where a lot of players like to play. You don't have mobility there, but you can also go a little bit like behind the car. You got to make sure you get them because it's a little bit nuanced in this position. And it's just a way that players can catch you off guard. That's all this is for. It's not a good position for rotating or anything. It's a good position to catch you off guard. The next position is just in the back here in this little cubby. And players like to stand here. They may stand right around the corner here. They may be in the back behind the box. They won't be able to duck behind the box if you come from this position. Alright, now Steve's feeling a little adventurous. He's going to be going B-side again here. Oh, I said I'd stop with the Steve stuff. I apologize. Alright, well, he's going to be going B-side here. Going to be a little watch lower, remember, common spot. Come down here. If you know that there's a player here, they could play around the corner here, or they could play anywhere around here. Just when you come around here like this, playing behind that box right there. And then also from this position, you can see heads at short A. And that's if a player pushes forward on short, they can kill you from this position right here. So you always want to watch up here just to see if a player is there. You can jump up on this box also to get vision so that you don't have to, so that they really can't hide from you. Alright, so you come here a little bit forward. There's a little cubby here, boom. And now Steve wants to go through middle. So he comes over here. There's generally going to be an opper standing in this position right there waiting for you. And in that position, there's going to be an opper there because he's going to be watching short A, just to call if anybody goes short A. So oppers like to stand right there. We come around the corner here. Usually nobody stands right there. You'll have somebody standing right here if they want to watch short from this position right here. So actually, this is probably a good place to look as well, because you can see heads coming from short as a counter-terrorist. So then a place that players like to catch you off guard is right around this door. Lots of players come over here and duck right here. The reason they duck here and not here is because you can wallbang them, bop, 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 which is a nice place to pre-shoot if you feel like doing it. So a lot of times they'll be sitting right here waiting for you to come around the corner, and then they'll just go pop. But keep in mind, guys, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, you have a defender's advantage, so you can go zoop. Alright, so we come in here a little bit further. There might be a player standing there in CT spawn. There's another spot. Come a little bit further, one could be standing around the corner. And then here, you see there could be a player inside at what we call the cross, shooting you from that position. Also, right there, you'll only be able to see their feet, but a lot of players play from here to watch short A and long, or at least to listen for long, but watch short A. And there's also a little derp spot back here that players could play from. This is a derp spot. I guess you could say the whole CT spawn in the back there is a derp spot. Alright, so when you come around the corner on the left side, oppers like to stand in that window, remember? This time you can get him from the other position. But he can watch both sides. So it's always good to take this position at the same time. So you have players come in from B, then me from here, and then I throw this flash over the top like that. Boom! And then we can move in and take bomb site B. It's a nice way to do it. The difficulty is when you run from this side, you're completely exposed to this whole area. So as I come up here, there's this little headshot box here. Players could be standing right behind it and peeking up over it. Also, this is door once again. And that's pretty much all you need to know from this position. However, if you want to take this site and come in here, see the player is behind the box. All these positions that we've covered already, just from a different perspective. Now Earl feels like he wants to go long A. So Earl's going to be running this way. Really nothing to worry about at this point. I don't have a flash, so I'll smoke through this. You want to flash through the sunroof like that. And when you get to this point, players cannot really be past here very much. So that's usually the first place you want to... If you're able to run there as fast as possible, as you come around this corner, right there, around that corner, is where players tend to be, and their heads will show up. And this is a position, if you get the right timing, you can pre-shoot players. What they'll do is they'll stand where I'm aiming right now, and they'll try and throw a nade or a flash, usually a nade, where I'm standing right now. This is probably the most pre-naded position, so you have to be really careful about this. Where I'm standing right now is where probably the most nades go off in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So come around this corner, you can pre-shoot him as he's throwing that nade. So this is very powerful to get the pick on a player who's playing long. A lot of times I like to play two players long. So the problem is you can't run fast enough to get here to block them from going into pit, which is over there. So if you've given them a little bit of time, players could be around this corner right here, which you could pre-shoot through this door, or you could just wallbang them through this door. And they could also be playing in the back there. Generally players are not going to play back here, CTs, because it's just not a good position. Unless they're... No, I don't think players would play there. So another place is this little sneaky position. You can see this little half box here, and then this blue thing. Players can sit right here. I'll show you that from their perspective because this one's pretty important. Right like that. Just so they're up in the air. It's a very sneaky position. So if you've given them time to get into that position, there they can be. So you come in a little bit more. Generally, players are not going to play up there, so you don't really have to worry about that. I've rarely ever seen anybody there. So the next place you got to look out for is pit. Players' heads will show right there. So they'll walk up. You can shoot them in the head here. You could take cover behind this blue thing. This is generally what you're going to do. You're going to run through here, pre-shoot, pop, run, or of course shoot them as you go by, and get into this position. Now another place that players can come from is around the corner there, and that's a very common position. So you generally have the common positions here is going to be the pit, it's going to be around this corner, and then it's going to be right there. So that's pretty much what you have to look out for here at long A. Now you come a little bit further, there could be a player sitting here waiting for you at car. Car is a very, it's not a derp spot. I just say that because you can also watch middle from it, and you can watch short A from it. It's a very interesting spot. So you come a little bit further here, a little bit further, and you can have a player crouching down below that box. up in between those barrels. The barrels do not move in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So, and I've seen players stand behind there just because it's so difficult to see them. They use those barrels as cover. Come a little bit further. There could be a player here inside of the site on either side of those barrels. A little bit further. There's going to be players, of course, coming from CT spawn. Now we move up here. Players still could be car hiding, so you want to come around the corner like this just to make sure. And then you have this position here. Of course, you want to do this from over here so you don't get shot. Then this position from over here. There's this little cubby area that players like to sit when you go short A. They can watch short A from that position. So generally we'll watch that position as well. Now the cross is difficult. You want to throw, I don't have a nade, so I guess we'll throw this down. You want to throw your smoke somewhere like there so that you're able to cross here. You don't really want to be shooting. Do not shoot from this position unless you have an op and you're just trying to pick the guy middle. This is a very dangerous position. You really shouldn't be picking from it. You should just try and get across with your bomb. Or, of course, throw it up there for your players at short to plant. Now Murray feels like he wants to go short A. So here goes Murray. Alright, if you run right this way and try to go short A, you might get opped. So I would advise against that. When you start out, you should probably just go this way if you can get a bunny hop going. I probably can't here. Not been practicing my bunny hops. You can hear that. That's because I use the mouse wheel there. So generally players are not just going to run up the middle. Sometimes they will. You'll usually know about it beforehand though. So what you want to do is this position right here is a very, very common opper position. Players will stand middle from that position and shoot players who come out this way. So generally you either want to try and pre-shoot, which is difficult this is a very difficult shot to make, especially when they have an op trained on this position, or you want to have a smoke ready in position, or just jump past. And when you get past, you'll try and move to the side and shoot you, and then you'll have the advantage here. But you also have this little post, but you can shoot right through it, so you can see no bullets on this side. Boom! Now there's a bullet. Alright. So, there's not really much to look for. People aren't going to be running middle. That's pretty ridiculous. So, as you come here, you want to be looking through these doors. There could be oppers standing right there. There could be players playing lower right here. All the stuff we looked for at when you're playing middle, just from this perspective. So you come around this corner here. And right there, this is a very common position for players to be watching. And as you come around, there could be a player around this corner here, usually not. You come further, and right there, this is a pre-shot position because players will have their head right there in that little cubby. And this is a very sneaky ninja position that you want to look out for. Players will be crouched back there, so you can actually come this whole distance and not see the player. I've played in this position, just like this. When I've heard them coming, I've gone back like this, or move my gun so it isn't pointing out like that, and they'll run right past me up there, and then I'll just be like, ah, knife, knife! Alright, so we're coming up here, and we're coming around the corner here. We're coming around the corner when we come. I gotta pay attention, I gotta stay focused. Alright, come around the corner right there. That's another position. Behind that box, a player could be standing waiting for you here. So you come up a little bit more here, and from here, there could be a player up in the back there in that derp spot. This is a derp spot. I'm not going to say what the real name of this position is because it's fairly offensive. So, players can stand there. You can see, in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, players who stand in that position, you can see their elbow sticking out. I'll actually go in that position just to show you what it looks like here really quickly. If they stand right here in this little position here, the derp spot, you can see their elbow sticking out. However, it's a little bit difficult to catch. But it's not a very good position just because of that, just because you can't hide in it. So as we come up here, it could be a player there. Generally not going to be a player anywhere here. Could be one in the back of the site right there. Could also be a player playing behind this box right here. Of course, you have that opper who could be behind those barrels, but if they're waiting for you from this position, this is where you want to look for. Right there. Right there. That position is very common if they're standing on the ramp. So there, there, and then there. And generally, if players are playing on that ramp and you're trying to take this site, they'll be running back and forth between all of these positions, trying to pre-shoot where you are right here. So you've got one position, and they've got probably 4 good ones, or I guess 3, there, there, and there, where they can shoot you from, and only their head is visible from all of these positions, well, except for that one, but only their head is visible from these 2 positions. Well, that's it for this tutorial. Hope you learned something. Please suggest in the comments what you would like to see for the next tutorial.